Jamaica, make we do the right thing. Make we live good today for a better tomorrow. Talk it out. Don't fight it out. The time by the Ministry of National Security is
6:30.
You know my heart goes crazy when you take the extra time. Let's explore our love. We'll leave the world behind. Can you feel this beat?
It's a schoolboy football, September 7 to December 14 on CVM TV. It's a schoolboy football, brought to you by EdgeChem, AIM Financial Corporation, Texaco, Connect Services, Jamaica Stock Exchange, and Sunshine Snacks.
When tea time come, pana. Mighty is in the building. It's another Why Not Wednesday. Don't miss devotion. Start your Wednesday in Wednesday service. It's gonna be a humbling experience. Then it's time for the parents to kick back in Parents Happy Hour. Calabar Primary and Junior High talks their Parent Fest. NCB stops by with big savings for the holidays with Black Friday deals you can't afford to miss. We'll wrap things with wags. It's a Possum fashion show. You've never seen a sunrise quite like this.
The Planning Institute of Jamaica, PIOJ, says the economy ground to a halt in the last quarter. Actually, worse than that, it declined by almost 3%, owing to what the PIOJ says is the impact of Hurricane Beryl and other weather-related events. So the question is, what is the way forward for the Jamaican economy? What's the story? What are the projections for the rest of the calendar year? And more important than that, what are the implications of the last quarter's performance for the remainder of the fiscal year, which ends on March 31 next year? Lead story starts right now. Welcome to Lead Story on this Wednesday here on CVM TV. And the news coming out of the Planning Institute of Jamaica, the PIOJ, is that the Jamaican economy would have declined by 2.8% in the last quarter. Director General of the Planning Institute of Jamaica, Dr. Wayne Henry, telling journalists today that the result was due to the impact of Hurricane Beryl and other weather-related events which shut down agriculture effectively, affected mining significantly, the services industries also recording a decline. And right across the spectrum where the major indicators are concerned, it was a step back from the incremental advances that had been seen over the preceding months. And he says that the forecast in the near term does not look bright for the economy. For some perspective, we're turning to a man who is an economist, and he is a member of the shadow cabinet led by opposition leader Mark Golding, Dr. Andre Horton, for some perspectives. Good evening, sir.
Good afternoon, George. Good afternoon to your listeners as well.
Yes, and I must also tell the viewers properly that Dr. Horton is the PNP's caretaker in West Central St. James. He is lining up to be the candidate in that seat when nomination comes around for the next general election. Dr. Horton, today's news, how did you receive it? Surprised, or is it in line with what you have been picking up on the ground?
Yeah, we're not surprised. we have seen that from the beginning of the year, the economy has been on a decline. Noticeably, you realize that the hurricane that came impacted some of the major industries. Mining and quarrying that has been improving over the last year and a half, so to speak, was affected severely. Agriculture, well, that was also expected. Some amount of construction might have been impacted as well. Transportation, if you notice, because a lot of the roads have been damaged, then a lot of the traffic has been slowing up how people traverse from one place to the next. If you're watching the news, then you'll see a number of protests taking place, especially in the St. James area, where people are finding it difficult to move from point X to point Y. And this shows that fundamentally the Jamaican economy has not been building up resilience. And what do I mean by resilience? We live in a Caribbean basin. And because we live in a Caribbean basin, we are susceptible to external shocks.
Dr. Horton, hold that point.
Yes.
I don't want to disturb you, so I have to take the break now because I want you to come back so that you are undisturbed in explaining what you mean by building up resilience and linking the point to the fact of our location in the Caribbean basin. I don't want to disturb you, so let me take the break now, come back and give you a clear run at explaining what you mean by the lack of resilience in this Jamaican economy. This is Lead Story. Break time, back with more after this.
Schoolboy Football, September 7 to December 14 on CVM TV. It's a Schoolboy Football, brought to you by HChem, AIM Financial Corporation, Texaco, Connect Services, Jamaica Stock Exchange, and Sunshine Snacks.
Back with us on Lead Story here on CVM TV. The word from the Planning Institute of Jamaica is that the economy for the July to September quarter declined by 2.8%, almost 3%, owing mainly to what the Director General of the PIOJ, Dr. Wayne Henry, describes as Hurricane Beryl and related hydrological events, because of course after Hurricane Beryl, and you know the huge disruption that caused to the economy, we had almost daily rain for weeks right across the island. Farmers are getting it particularly severely right across the island, especially in the food producing belt, St. Elizabeth and other parts, and other services, other industries also affected. Agriculture declined by about 13%, mining declined by about 15%. And Dr. Henry says the forecast for the remainder of the year, calendar year, and the remainder of the fiscal year also bleak, and we are likely to end the calendar year in negative territory where growth is concerned, and also on track to record a negative outturn where the fiscal year growth numbers are concerned. I have with me economist, lecturer, Dr. Andre Horton, the PNP's caretaker in West Central St. James. He's also a member of the opposition shadow cabinet. Before the break, Dr. Horton, you were telling me that what we are seeing is partly a result of the lack of resilience built into this Jamaican economy, and I want you to advance that case.
Yes, when you operate an economy like the one that we do, we know we're susceptible to extreme weather events, including rain, flood, drought, hurricanes. Now, when you look across the industries, agriculture represents less than 10% of the industry. Now, the largest industry, including backward and forward linkages, is that of tourism, where people come and now, if we understand that we are impacted by drought, flood, hurricane, whatever the case may be, then we have to put buffers in place in order to secure how we go about our production processes. So it's either we're going to look at how we expand production during the seasons of no hurricane, how we put in warehousing and infrastructure to cope with climate events. As a matter of fact, I just finished a consultancy with the IDB that looked at how we build climate resilient housing and warehousing for agricultural products. And what the consultancy, the results emanating shows that we have to now begin to infuse some amount of technology and innovation in how we go about producing our goods and services, as well as we have to diversify into the production of goods that can cope with whichever climate event that we are trying to cope with.
Yes.
So the fact is that there are other countries across the world who understand their own idiosyncrasies, and they have been building their economy around these idiosyncrasies. I just saw an ad where China built some hotels for their pigs. Now, one would say hotels for pigs in Jamaica, everybody would say, ha, 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 and they would laugh as if it's a big joke.
Yes.
But China has built these billion-dollar facilities, indoor facilities that can withstand not only extreme wind blowing and extreme rainfall, but also earthquakes and so on and so forth.
Yes.
This is 2024, and
yes.
if we believe that sticking a seed into the ground and spraying fertilizer on it or spraying pesticides around it, it's agriculture, then we are living in the stone ages, my friend.
Yes, because that's what
in the future.
Yeah.
And,
no, I'm agreeing with you to say. I'm agreeing with you, Dr. Horton, to say that was what was happening in those ages. So if in modern times you're still doing what was being done in the Stone Age, then you have a problem. But let me ask you this. And I welcome your comments just now about the need for resilience and the absence of the buffers that you speak of that are crucial to protect in times when you have shocks of the kind caused by hurricanes and earthquakes. Well, let me ask you this. If it is that the weather events would have moderated over the weeks since burial and people got back electricity and the certain production processes that were disrupted are back on track, and with the hurricane season, of course, ending in November, and you don't expect any weather events, rain-related events, and of course, this is not the time of the year for drought to kick in, do you think that economic activity and the services industries especially can return to the output levels to lift us back into positive territory, or you, like the POJ, look down the road and see the negative trend continuing?
Yes, I saw this since summer, because looking at the first 2 quarters of the year, you'll recognize that we did not register any positive growth. Fundamentally, it has to do with the economic underpinnings of the Jamaican economy. Each industry, and we have to put this into context, because when you think about us, let us internalize for a moment. In 2016, when the Jamaica Labour Party took over the government, they had this ambitious plan to grow the economy by 5% over the next 4 years, right? And that would be from 2016 to 2020, albeit we were negatively impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. However, the economic underpinning of our country does not have in it an infusion of technology and innovation to assist the industries to grow by those amounts. So what have we been seeing? We've been seeing that the economy is still growing by its average 1% per annum, because the shock that we need to move our production possibility frontier, no government has been willing to make the harsh decisions that are necessary to reduce the wastage of labor. And when I say wastage, what my research has shown is that every single industry in Jamaica now uses more labor than what it took for them to produce their optimum. Let me start with government. Government is
Dr. Horton, Dr. Horton, again, Dr. Horton, just
Yes.
hold it right there. Just hold it right there. I have to take this next break, the final break, and I'll come back and you can pick up from the point that you were making. This is Lead Story here on CVM TV. 2.8%. That's by how much the economy declined in the July to September quarter, as reported by the Planning Institute of Jamaica, PIOJ.
The time by Grace. Taste that moves you is
6:45.
These days, challenges are everywhere and things are constantly changing, but independent living remains the same. Rising above physical challenges, we can help you do it. For years, we have been Jamaica's trusted provider for solutions to improve patient care, safety, and general quality of life. No matter your age or your physical limitation, we are the caring store, waiting to serve you. It's time to experience independent living. Visit us.
Back with us on Lead Story here on CVM TV. My guest is Dr. Andre Horton. He's an economist. He's a lecturer. He's the PNP's caretaker in West Central St. James. He's a member of the Shadow Cabinet, and he is giving me his perspectives on the performance of the economy, not just in the July to September period that we attributed the 2.8% decline to, but broadly speaking since the start of the year, and he's also looking ahead. And the point you were making before the break, Dr. Horton, was that successive administrations have not taken the tough decisions to do the things to supercharge industries so that they can perform more efficiently. And the point you were making concerned the misuse of labor, the excess labor being used to produce output that is still short of the required standard. That's the argument you were making. Can you continue the point, please?
Yes. So in 2005, say for example, the government were producing, say, put argument 10 billion per year. They were using, say for argument's sake, 200,000 people to produce that. And in 2017, holding all other factors constant, the government are producing the same amount, but instead of hiring, for example, the 200,000 people, they are now hiring 260,000 people. So they are hiring 30% more people to produce the same amount that they did 20 years ago. I don't know if the point is clear to you.
The point is clear. It's a misalignment of labor.
In production, yes. Anytime we find, and that is happening across all industries, because what happens is that whenever we find ourselves in challenges, production challenges, instead of getting the right technology, getting the right machinery infused, getting the existing labor to improve their human capital qualifications in order to operate those machines and to ensure that the production process improves vertically, what we do is to employ more people horizontally. So we continue to produce the same amount, but with more people.
Here's what I want to ask you, though. Here's what I want to ask you. I want you to explain your point, your perspective, because how does it reconcile with the report from manufacturers themselves who say, I have to put off, I have to delay expanding my business because there's not enough labor. So there's not enough labor, they say, to use in the traditional ways, Dr. Horton, but they also say there's not enough labor to train to use the machines that can mechanize their production processes. So how do their real accounts square with what you're saying?
Exactly. So you see the point I am making. So the labor exists, but not the type of skilled labor to improve the output per unit of time. So if they find themselves in those situations, what they end up have to do is to hire labor at its most basic level in order to assist another labor at its most basic level in order to get the job done, instead of hiring labor vertically, where that particular labor offering has higher human capital capabilities, so that instead of increasing the number of labor, you increase the quality of labor. So we are all making the same point that the quality of labor that we need for the manufacturing industry to grow is not present. What we have are laborers who are not equipped with the skills to operate those new machines that the manufacturing industry needs to expand its output per unit of time.
Say something, if you may, Dr. Horton, about red tape, bureaucracy, because bureaucracy in any production process, in any organized activity is necessary, because that's where the administrative functions especially germinate from, they pivot from, the bureaucracy. But bureaucracy can be stultifying, bureaucracy can be overbearing, bureaucracy can get in the way. How does a government, and I'm sure you'd have had these talks within the walls of the PNP, how do you and the party, if it forms the next government, go about reducing bureaucracy if indeed you see the bureaucracy as a problem?
All right, so within the firm itself, the firm must know how to find the right labor to machinery combination in order to produce its own output. Now, where the bureaucracy comes in is when they have to deal with the government in order for them to get the right waivers, to get the right concessions, and not even waivers and concessions, just to get the right permits in order for them to carry out their business activity. The idea, and if you look even at America's government, where Trump is looking to appoint Elon Musk to be his efficiency director, because what you realize is that business people want things done right away. Government want things to be done through a process. Government don't understand what it is to innovate per unit of time. So for example, you are improving the television. You can improve the television by 100% and it can take 100 years. Or you can improve the television by 100% and it takes a year. Now, the innovation per unit of time is very important, and what the government bureaucracy does is that it prevents firms from getting the permits they need in order for them to produce the output that they want. If and when we get the chance, we will do a similar thing, which is look at all the government ministries, departments, and agencies, look at how long it takes for them to move paperwork around the industries, and then see how best we can minimize the amount of time it takes for certain permits. You know that sometimes you go to the government, you want a simple stamp or a simple signature, and it has to move around 5, 6, 7,
so here's
8,
this question
9
then.
days,
Here's this
and
thing
then
then.
it comes back to the same day.
Here's this thing then. You say what the PNP would do in terms of the assessment across MDAs, ministries, departments, and agencies to see how you can cut time. But here's the thing. Yesterday, the Prime Minister announced, as part of his Aspire Jamaica initiative, the establishment of an epoch-style efficiency oversight body. So rather than Economic Program Oversight Committee, which is what EPOC was, he says it's an efficiency oversight committee. Is that a step in the right direction, or is that not broad enough or central enough from your perspective?
After 8 years, when did he come in?
9 years.
After 8 years, 9 years. After 8 years, 9 years, with an ambitious plan to grow this economy by 5% per annum, I think he has taken too long to make these steps. I think that now, and as a matter of fact, that sort of committee must be given the freedom to be able to scrutinize all government operation across the board. And I don't think that a committee will have the capacity to do so. I think we need these sort of engineers, people who understand order flow processes and so on and so forth, and the government give them a contract to go through all the ministries, departments, and agencies. One, get rid of the excess labor or channel them towards technological productivity. And two, minimize processes that take place. So you have a committee like EPOC that overshadows finance. Fine, because the finance is practically documents that you send to the committee, and the committee review those documents on their spare time. But you're talking about going to the hospital, looking at how the process works between signing a contract to procure medicine versus getting whatever. You're talking about going into all the different government ministries and agencies. Go down a wharf. Look at how long it takes to move the paperwork for importation of goods? How long does it stay on the wharf? So we need specialists, we need experts, we need order flow engineers who understand these things and are willing to make the right recommendations, and the government too must be willing to act up on those recommendations.
Time is up, Dr. Horton. Time is up, but I have to ask you this. So let me ask you this squarely. There have been people who say, the opposition certainly has said that, look, the amounts by which the economy was growing up to this point in the previous 13 quarters was not enough for anybody to feel the effect of it in their pockets. It was negligible at best. So I asked the question, the quantum by which the economy has declined in this quarter and is set to decline for the rest of the calendar year and fiscal year, will that have a squeeze on people's ability to spend and affect their quality of life? Quickly.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. The economy is in a recession, and as we know, in recessions we earn less and prices are more. And fundamentally, we have to figure out how to re-engineer how we stabilize output in a positive, progressive way.
I'm out of time.
And this is going to take careful planning. And that is where government spending needs to go.
I'm out of time. Thank you for your time this evening at very short notice, Dr. Horton. Appreciate your perspectives as usual.
All right, have a wonderful day. I'm headed to a class now at 7, a macroeconomics class. So we're going to discuss these things as well. Have a wonderful afternoon.
All right, sir. That's Dr. Audrey Horton. He is the PNP caretaker in West Central St. James. He's also a member of the opposition's shadow cabinet, economist, and a lecturer. All right, my perspective is that this was on the cards. The PIOJ told us some time ago to brace for this kind of outturn. Beryl wasn't a normal hurricane, and despite much of the country being spared physical damage from Beryl, the section of the country that was hit by Beryl it couldn't have hit a worse place. The breadbasket section, St. Elizabeth, South Manchester, and even Clarendon. So fishers were affected, and the people who planned, those in agriculture, farmers, were devastated. And you heard the numbers. Agriculture declining by 13%. Mining activity also ground to a halt. Mining is a significant contributor to GDP in any particular part of the year, or the year taken as a calendar year or a fiscal year. And for that to decline by 15%, it's another body blow. So two of the industries which, when those industries record growth, the economy usually grows. So I say that again. When agriculture as a sector and as a sector grows, when mining grows, when one or both grow in any review period, the economy usually records growth. So for both of them to decline by single digits in the same quarter, there's no surprise that we're seeing a 2.8% downturn, and the news is not so rosy, because they say in the near term and by the end of the fiscal year, it shall remain in negative.
Fan Central Pitchside, brought to you by Edgecam, in Financial Corporation, Connect Services, Texaco, Jamaica Stock Exchange, and Sunshine Snacks.
Small business owners and independent contractors get affordable insurance with Sagicor Pro Shield. The time by Sagicor Life is
7 o'clock.
CVM News at 7 Wednesday headlines, courtesy of Heart and Estate Trust, Jamaica's Human Development Agency.
Tonight in CVM News at 7, Holness unveils ambitious economic agenda. Kingston mayor meets with vendors after fire at Purnell Charles Arcade. And police investigate fatal shooting in Halfway Tree. Also this evening, in Living the Life, curling takes a trip to the Glades. While in sports, Windies hunt rare test win starting Friday.
contractor, I never work without a plan.
As an electrician, protection is always a priority.
If you're a small business owner or an independent contractor, there's a plan that gives you protection and coverage. Sagicor Pro Shield. Get up to $1 million critical illness coverage and cover up to 80% of your medical costs for as little as $13,650 every 3 months. Get the protection you need with Sagicor Pro Shield. Call 888-SAGICOR. Conditions apply.
That's it. We're closed. I am so sorry. We only have 3 parties left.
It's a Jamaican thing, but full of flavor. Hey. We set the trend style major. Juicy party, happy savor. You know the party nice when we do the juicy party bounce. Party bounce, party bounce, watch it bounce, watch it bounce. Hot party, watch it steam. Juicy party bounce, party bounce, party bounce, watch it bounce, watch it bounce. Juicy party, ready for we go. From food I keep in our party. Juicy party, have something for everybody. So party for nice. Party bounce, watch it bounce, watch it bounce. Hot party, watch it steam. Juicy party bounce. Grab your family and do the juicy party bounce.
CVM News at 7 Wednesday headlines, courtesy of Heart NSDA Trust, Jamaica's Human Development Agency.
From Kingston, Jamaica, this is CVM News at 7. It's Wednesday, November 20, 2024. Thanks for having joined us. I'm Nika Lewis. Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness has laid out an ambitious agenda aimed at tackling inefficiencies in the public sector while driving inclusive economic growth. But as he unveils these plans, mounting challenges loom large for his administration. Ramon Gordon has our lead story.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness has unveiled a new, albeit familiar agenda, aimed at driving inclusive economic growth and addressing inefficiencies in Jamaica's public sector. At an economic policy briefing on Tuesday, Holness reaffirmed older policy positions while introducing plans to remove taxes on tips in the hospitality sector, revamp the urban renewal tax credit system, and establish an efficiency program oversight committee. Not to be confused, he said, with a similar program recently introduced by a foreign leader.
I cannot pivot without dealing with the muscles of the athlete, which is the bureaucracy. The Jamaican bureaucracy has become self-serving. It's there to cross the I's and dot the T's and has no concern as to whether or not the country grows. That must change.
This announcement comes against the backdrop of mounting challenges. The governing Jamaica Labour Party, JLP, is trailing the opposition in recent polls, while strikes in the tourism sector and widespread protests over poor road conditions have led to political fallout. Holness is banking on his administration's achievements, particularly on the economic front.
Anything can knock you off when you're about to make that pivot. It's a delicate position. And that is why we have to grow, because we are not going to borrow to do this.
Also on the Holness agenda, increasing the threshold for small businesses to register for General Consumption Tax (GCT), establishing a national infrastructure fund to streamline public-private partnerships, also offering tax write-offs for businesses adopting advanced technologies. The Prime Minister sidestepped questions regarding a timeline for policy implementation, but expressed confidence that his initiatives would not derail the country's fiscal framework.
We don't propose anything for which we don't know the impact on the fiscal side. You will get that when Minister Favour Williams presents the budget, because the general parameter is that it must not affect the planned downward trajectory of the debt.
Holness's manifesto-like six-point plan aims to drive inclusive economic growth by focusing on human capital development, enhancing skills, and preparing Jamaicans for formal employment. The JLP leader is set to further make his case at the party's annual conference this Sunday. Ramon Gordon, for CVM News.
And the Prime Minister has introduced his latest strategy to increase economic growth through his 6-point Aspire plan, but reactions differ. While some stakeholders are satisfied with the government's pivot, the opposition believes the plan is the latest ploy to gain political capital and that the framework may be too late in addressing the nation's economic concerns. To tell us more, here's Courtney Lewis.
The government's latest 6-point Aspire plan to increase economic growth is welcomed by private sector stakeholders. The private sector is expected to benefit from tax reforms and incentives, with the hope for the Efficiency Program Oversight Committee to address major concerns.
What we need commitment from the government, we need commitment from the private sector, we need commitment from all levels of government at each and every level to make sure that we get the bureaucracy out of the way and get to work with business.
President of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, Metri Siaga, emphasized accountability from all stakeholders, further illuminating the benefits of a raise in GCT threshold to small business owners.
I'm elated for small businesses because it is what we need. You see, small businesses is where we get real employment. It is where we drive the economy from. And in so assisting them, it's how we move forward.
While some may be celebrating, the opposition asserts this plan may be too late and is not credible for a government in power for almost 9 years. Opposition spokesperson on finance Julian Robinson says, while he doesn't discredit the achievements of the GOJ, there are too many gaps.
Even though we have low unemployment, it is not translated into people being able to lift the quality of life for themselves and their families.
He adds greater emphasis must be placed on investing in education and agriculture to increase productivity and provide solutions for businesses.
I think we can grow our economy significantly if we can improve agricultural outputs, particularly for the tourism industry. Position ourselves as a logistics hub provides a lot of opportunities for us in transshipment and providing higher quality jobs. For small and medium-sized enterprises, I believe we have to simplify the process for them to access credit. It's simply too complicated for people to get funding to build their businesses.
He suggests greater efficiency in procurement for a suitable spend in capital expenditure. Courtney Lewis for CVM News.
And as the GOJ seeks to pivot towards economic growth and maintains its promised fiscal discipline, Finance Minister Favour Williams encourages a boost in human capital. She says skills training in STEM areas through the Hart Foundation and tertiary education, along with building disaster resilience, remains paramount in the government's efforts to reduce the nation's debts.
We will need to create higher quality jobs, an emphasis on which this administration has committed in numerous ways, such as the promotion and support in STEM-focused jobs. And we will also need to boost our climate resilience through the National Natural Disaster Fund policy, with its many layers of protection that enables funding for natural and other disasters. Recently, the World Bank remarked that Jamaica has made commendable progress towards inclusive growth through effective debt management, economic reforms, and the implementation of frameworks like the Inclusive Growth Index framework. However, ongoing efforts are necessary to address structural challenges and ensure that the benefits of growth are equitably distributed across all segments of society.
Now, the St. Andrews Central Police have identified the victim of a fatal shooting in Halfway Tree on Tuesday evening. Authorities are investigating possible links to criminal activities as they intensify operations in the area. Shante McNeil has the latest in this report.
The St. Andrew police have confirmed the identity of a man who was fatally shot in a gun attack in Halfway Tree Tuesday evening. The deceased have been identified as 31-year-old Tevin Benjamin, a taxi loader man of a Halfway Tree address. Police reports suggest that approximately 5:40 p.m., Benjamin was attacked by 4 unknown assailants who shot him before escaping on foot. He was subsequently rushed to the Kingston Public Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Commanding officer for the division, Rory Martin, has since explained that the deceased was allegedly linked to extortion activities in the area.
As also, he is linked to extortion activities in the space in halfway tree. So far, intelligence has caused us to be following several leads in respect of this murder, but it is not yet clear, or we're not sure what may have led to this incident where he was killed yesterday.
He noted that going into the Christmas period, heightened operations will be carried out in the area. This, while adding that several arrests have been made following the recent incident.
Since the incident occurred, we have conducted numerous operations in the space. We have so far arrested a number of these men believed to be backup loader men, or persons who we believe to be involved in extortion. We're also collaborating with St. Andrew North Police Division, and I am aware that some operations were conducted in the Parkland area also of St. Andrew North and adjoining areas. We will continue our operations in these places as we intend to rid our township of these extortionists.
He's encouraging locals to be mindful of these individuals and continue to assist the police with any information they may have to apprehend such. Shante McNeil, CVM News.
Stay with us for more CVM News at 7 after this break.
Wednesday, courtesy of
Your love lives on with life insurance from Sagicor.
Fish farmers and all fishermen get your new way for get your license in your hand.
Rotted. Johnny, your bag, jump in the water, fisherman license tonight.
Don't worry about that, man.
Accidents do happen, but easy application for your fishing license from your smartphone makes things a little easier. iRefins allows you to register for any fishing license, permit, or authorization anytime, anywhere. With iRefins, you get faster processing times when you register online from any mobile device or computer. A new system, the iRefins system, for fishers like
me
and me. And me. Ask about iRefins, the new system for fishers and fish farmers. Register today for an easier way.
iRefins is a joint project of the National Fisheries Authority and the Transformation Implementation Unit.
Welcome back. The mayor of Kingston held a meeting with vendors after a recent fire at the Pernell Charles Arcade to discuss rebuilding plans and to offer support to those affected. The session focused on addressing concerns and outlining next steps for recovery. With more, here's Britannia Witter.
It's been 2 days since a devastating fire engulfed a section of the Pernell Charles Arcade, leaving 56 vendors affected and 95 shops destroyed. On Tuesday, Mayor of Kingston, Andrew Swaby, met with the affected vendors to discuss immediate solutions and long-term plans for recovery. During the meeting held at the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, Mayor Swaby listened to the vendors' concerns and expressed his sympathy for the hardship caused by the fire. The affected vendors, who sell a range of goods from clothing to accessories, have been without a place to operate since the blaze. However, Swaby said the vendors proposed practical solutions to get back to business.
They have made several suggestions which I believe is worthy to look at. For example, there's a section that is not being utilized now without a roof, and they say if we could put something like a tarpaulin on it and provide some lighting inside there, and those who can pick up their pieces to start further before the Christmas season kicked in. And we are willing to look at that. I've asked the city engineer department to go in tomorrow morning. And I've said to them, a few of them can come in the way and have a discussion with them on location to see how best we can help them.
According to Mayor Swaby, the cause of the fire is yet to be identified by the Jamaica Fire Brigade. Fortunately, no lives were lost and there were no reports of injuries. However, the financial impact on the vendors is significant, with many losing stock and merchandise. Despite the setback, the vendors have shown resilience and cooperation.
Overall, there wasn't being unreasonable. I believe that they recognize that our hands are tied and they are willing to walk with us through the process. There's an existing committee, vendors committee there that we have committed to have that discussion on a regular basis and to get them there.
Meanwhile, President of the Pernell Charles Vending Committee, Andrew Payne, expressed his appreciation for the mayor's urgency.
Yeah, I get a sense of inclusion, a connection, how we can go forward when things arise, when problems or issues arise, we know that they can be dealt with. Yes, I like the efficiency, the sounding of efficiency, so it will be proven tomorrow at that time, because the team would have said 10 and he asked for 9, so you see, yeah, I like that.
The Pernell Charles Arcade has been a long central marketplace for many vendors. Fire has underscored the vulnerability of the area. The recovery process is expected to take several weeks, but both the vendors and the mayor are hopeful that with continued cooperation, the Pernell Charles Arcade will rise from the ashes and once again serve as a vibrant marketplace in downtown Kingston. Britannia Witter, CVM News.
In St. Catherine now, the police in Area 5 are taking a more proactive approach to stemming crimes that typically rise in the festive season. Only weeks away from Christmas now, the area commander met with the various special operations and especially assigned teams to not only brief them on the mission, but to strengthen morale amid challenges.
It was a special meeting of the minds at the Police College in Twickenham Park, St. Catherine recently, as the Area 5 Fugitive Apprehension Task Force and other special units were issued mandates for the upcoming Christmas period.
We really want to set the tone going into the festive season. We will commence that 80-20 deployment of our assets right across Area 5 to ensure that our communities are safe. We went into details in terms of some operational initiatives that we want to apply, things we want to do differently. We take a look on the gaps so far in terms of the area and how we have been performing. I must say to date, I'm pleased with the efforts of the team. Area generally seeing reduction in most major crimes.
A proactive move by law enforcement in a parish that's no stranger to gangs and criminal elements. Acting ACP Phillips hopes the impact from this season will be carried through to the new year, stressing the use of force policy and respect for human rights.
Of course, we're zooming on, reminding the members of our human rights use of force policy and the need to maintain that level of operational integrity out there. I'm happy to report that the morale of the team at this time is very, very high.
And for the festive season, he assures there will be no want for boots on the ground to stem seasonal crimes like robberies and related shootings.
The public can expect increased deployment across our townships going into the Yuletide season and a little after that into the early part of the new year, that you'll have increased deployment out there. And we are refocusing our efforts. There are some persons who are on our wanted list that we believe the communities will be safer if those persons, are brought to justice. And we're going to be working, the team was refocused around those priority.
The area commander also had a charge for anyone bent on disrupting the order and peace Christmas heralds, that no effort will be spared in removing them from the streets and the communities.
Anyone who tries to disrupt the peace going into the Yuletide season will be met with the full force. The fullness of our capability will be coming after them. We are serious about the business and we really want, things to be better for our country and our communities out there. And I had the opportunity to really express thanks to the teams for the support and the performance to date. And so we invite the public to come along, join us as we do policing together for the Yuletide season.
Stay with us for so much more after this break.
It at over $400,000 with Digicel. When you gift your loved ones a 7-day plan for just $1,100 in My Digicel, share one more gift, one more moment, one more smile. Digicel, better connected this Christmas.
Hey girl, of course I'm at Mega Mart. Where else do you expect me to be? Girl, the prices here are ridiculously low. Anyway, look, I know you never asked, but I got me some meats, I got me vegetables, I also got me some juices, and then I stopped by the bakery, then I went by the pharmacy where I did a little banking, and girl, I am just so excited for tonight. Listen, Mega Mart has the best prices by far. Jackie.
Welcome back. It's now time for the Business Report with Joel Crosskill.
Lots to share with you in a bite-sized business report today. So here's a quick scoop from the 2024 AGM of Caribbean Cream Limited, which trades as Creamy, served up by Managing Director and CEO Christopher Clark.
We continue our revenue growth with an increase of 135 million or 5% over the previous year. The net profit for the year was 48 million, an increase of 6.4 million. The half-year revenue amounted to 1.5 billion, up from 1.25 billion in the corresponding year. The increased revenue is due to continued stock availability due to the new cold room. The company achieved higher profits before taxation, recording 4.5 million versus last year's 12.5, an improvement of 33 million over the corresponding period.
The company, which was observing its 11th AGM, also made an announcement that has the potential to further enhance product continuity while also reducing costs.
The company has recently experienced some good luck with the lifting of the moratorium on new wells. Once this was brought to our attention, we quickly leapt into action and applied for permission to dig a well. I'm happy to tell you that the permission was granted, and the well is being constructed as we speak. As explained to me by my contractors, that the rate of the water coming out of the well should be zero. The only expenses should be maintenance costs and upkeep, and those should not be that much. So it's a strict limit, and you have all the savings in the back end.
The material impact of the new on-property water supply, which is to be built at Creamy's South Road headquarters in Kingston at a budgeted cost of $50 million, will go some way towards quenching the operation's 36,000 gallon a day appetite, according to Clark.
The plant consumes about $2 million worth of water from National Water Commission per month. The new well should have a capacity of 50 gallons per minute.
That's about 72,000 gallons each day if running non-stop, or double current demands. And that was your business report. I'm Joel Crosskill.
Well, many Jamaican families grew up on stories from their male relatives of trips to the United States to work in cane fields dating back to the 1900s. Living the Life with Curlin Brown made an impromptu trip and landed in the Glades. Here's part one of what she found out.
It continues. Her soil is her fortune. It's a place in the United States of America where thousands of Caribbean nationals, including Jamaicans, brought their language, their culture, and tradition, enriching the lives and the community they came and saw, a home away from home, when sugar was king. Colloquially, it moved from being called Muck City because of the soil composition, which was perfect for why these immigrants came here. It later became the Muck in recent years, honoring community spirit, a legacy of agriculture in the sugar belt of the U.S. The land, you see, was fertile then, and it remains so, and the returns from the greenback enabled many families to build big on the little they had. The blacks were dominant, even though the population was quite diverse. Belglade has had its fair share of negativism, such as labor disputes, environmental concerns, worker exploitation, and health risks. And it also has had a rich agricultural heritage. We found statistics that showed an output of 3.5 million tons of sugarcane production in 2020. And during that same period, over 12,000 jobs, harvesting over 400,000 acres. We walked onto the compound of Sugarcane Growers Cooperative of Florida, eager to find out more years after the thriving sugarcane era of the 1990s, and the United States Sugar Corporation got Belglade off the ground. Tim, what was the organization called?
United States Sugar Corporation was the first one around here that I can recall. And they started probably back in the late 20s, early 30s. And they used to have two mills. One was in Clewiston, one was based in Pahokee. The one in Pahokee they closed down. It's called Bryant. They closed it down a few decades ago. And then they moved all their operation to Clewiston, refurbished the mill, made it larger.
And so that now has become what you are today, which is?
Well, they manufacture raw sugar, and that's what we do. But they're their own company, own entity. They have a lot of different interests, from what I understand. Sugarcane being probably the largest one, but they've also dealt with citrus. They've dealt with a whole host of different products.
Did many of the Jamaicans come here, or they went to? They were all over.
They went all over. My understanding is, at least back when I started here in '78, I worked a couple of years in the mill, then I went to the field. As a matter of fact, we have a building up on the very corner of this road up here is the last remaining set of barracks we have. Now it's a shell, but that's where we would house them at. We had them in a number of different locations.
So they came here?
They came here, they would live here for
6 months.
Now they may have went somewhere else prior to coming here. My understanding is, I think some of them, not all of them, some of them were probably had went already somewhere upstate. A lot of apples and things of that nature there. I think they went there first and then they would come here. Our season is basically a winter crop season. I mean, we would start anywhere in October and then usually run until March. Nowadays it's October, and now it's because of the largest of the crop, we usually run until at least the end of April or May. So we'll be busy 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Thank you, Tim. This is a conversation to be continued with lots more input. I'm Colin Brown for Living the Life, CVM News.
Stay with us. We take a quick break.
Corn chicken, now available in barbecue. KFC, it's finger-licking good. The time by KFC is 7:30.
This is a public service announcement. Yo, JPS have something for light up your Christmas. 101 lucky customers are gonna get real happy with them light bill paid this Christmas. That's over $2 million in light. Use the My JPS app to view your bill, set your budget, and track your usage, and you could win. Download and start using the My JPS app today. JPS, pouring what matters this Christmas. Promotion in December 27. Conditions apply.
Ready Cash will give to you. 10 hands from baking 9, party tickets 8, phones are ringing 7, air fryer 6, cashbacks 5, shopping sprees. 4 smart TVs, 3 100 grand, 2 200 grand, and a big check for 500 G.
Take a Quartz Ready Cash loan of $55,000 or more between now and December 26th for a chance to win one of 55 amazing prizes. Authorized under Section 58(3) of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act. Quartz Ready Cash, ready when you are. Conditions apply.
Welcome back. The Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs urged government employees to reaffirm their commitment, emphasizing their crucial role in sustaining both the state and democracy. We hear more in this report from Britannia Witta.
The Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs, Marlene Mullahu-Fort, called on government workers at a recent legislative policy development workshop to take their jobs more seriously, emphasizing that their commitment and diligence are crucial to the health of the country's democracy.
The essence of a republican form of government is a people-centered government. Res publica, from which republic is derived, is a property of the people. So, working in government is not about your private interest. It's not your personal fiefdom. It's about the public interest, and it's about serving the people. I think we need to be reminded of that.
Speaking to an audience of government workers, she underscored the importance of professionalism, accountability, and transparency in public service. The minister also stressed that those in public office should approach their roles with understanding that their actions contribute to the overall stability of the nation.
Government delivers its services through its agents, and many